After 19 years of marriage that survived addiction, rehab, and public scrutiny, Nicole Kidman has filed for divorce from Keith Urban, and the reason she's confirming isn't what anyone expected. They separated in June 2025, after Keith moved out of their family home. Nicole wanted to save the marriage. Keith did not. Court documents reveal Nicole gets primary custody, 306 days per year, with their daughters, versus Keith's 59 days. But here's what's sending shockwaves. Multiple sources close to Nicole confirm all the signs point to the fact Keith is with another woman. One source added, Nicole doesn't dispute that, but she's still shocked over it. It's all over Nashville. Just 17 months before filing for divorce, Keith gave an emotional speech at Nicole's AFI ceremony praising her for saving him from addiction. What happened between that moment and now? April 27, 2024. Keith Urban takes the stage at Hollywood's Dolby Theater for Nicole's AFI Life Achievement Award ceremony. This wasn't just any speech. Keith stood before Hollywood's elite Meryl Streep, Reese Witherspoon, Morgan Freeman, and poured his heart out about the woman who saved him. Keith's words from that night,
Nicole.
My wife, Nicole, Mary's here tonight. I love you, baby girl. 4 months into our marriage, my addictions that I'd done really nothing about blew our marriage to smithereens, and I went into the Betty Ford Center. Nick pushed through every negative voice, I'm sure even some of her own, and she chose love.
he continued, his voice breaking with emotion. Nick pushed through every negative voice, I'm sure even some of her own, and she chose love. And here we are tonight. The speech went viral instantly. Millions watched Keith credit Nicole with saving him during his darkest moment. He called her his real-life princess. He described meeting her in January 2005 at a G-Day USA gala in Los Angeles. He admitted carrying her phone number in his pocket for over a week because he was too nervous to call. Nicole sat in the audience, visibly moved to tears, surrounded by her Big Little Lies co-stars and friends. The moment seemed to capture the strength of their bond, a love story that survived addiction, a marriage that came back from the brink. But if you watch that footage now, knowing what happened 17 months later, you start to wonder, was Keith already planning his exit? Some body language experts who've analyzed the speech claim Nicole's tears weren't just from emotion, but from sensing something was off. Her smile, they say, didn't quite reach her eyes. 17 months later, they would file for divorce. June 26, 2025, their 19th wedding anniversary. Nicole Kidman posted on Instagram celebrating nearly 2 decades together. Her post was romantic, heartfelt. She shared a black and white photo of her and Keith embracing, captioned simply, "Happy anniversary, baby." Keith's response? A heart emoji comment on her post. That's it, no post of his own, no romantic tribute, no matching energy to her public declaration of love. Now, some people defended Keith at the time. Maybe he's not big on social media. Maybe he prefers keeping things private. But fans who'd followed them for years noticed something different. Keith always posted for their anniversary. Always. This was the first year he didn't. And that emoji, it felt cold, obligatory, like checking a box. One fan commented at the time, "Something feels off. Where's Keith's post?" Another wrote, "That emoji feels like the bare minimum." They didn't know how right they were. Behind the scenes, according to TMZ sources, they had already separated at the beginning of summer. Keith had moved out of their family home in Nashville and into his own residence. The marriage was already over. Nicole just didn't know Keith had moved on yet. Sources told TMZ that Nicole did not want the separation. She was fighting to save the marriage. Keith was the one who wanted out. And here's where it gets messy. Some insiders claim Keith had already been emotionally checked out for months before that anniversary post. That by the time Nicole was writing "Happy Anniversary, Baby," Keith was already living a separate life. But what Nicole didn't know yet was what sources now claim that Keith had already moved on with someone else. Multiple sources who spoke to TMZ say, all the signs point to the fact Keith is with another woman. Let's just say Nicole doesn't dispute that, but she's still shocked over it. Another source added, it's all over Nashville. A Nashville music business PR insider told Daily Mail, the rumor is that he's with a younger woman in the business. It's all everyone is talking about. Everyone wants to know who. But so far, that's a mystery. Now, nobody's naming names, but Nashville's a small town when it comes to the music industry. People talk, and according to whispers circulating through country music circles, this isn't someone random Keith met after the separation. This is allegedly someone he'd been working with, someone on tour, someone Nicole had probably even met. September 30th, 2025. Nicole Kidman files for divorce in Davidson County, Tennessee, where the couple has lived since 2007. The court documents tell a stark story about their marriage and how it ended. Nicole gets 306 days per year with their daughters, Sunday Rose, 17, and Faith Margaret, 14. Keith gets 59 days per year. That's 83% custody for Nicole versus 17% for Keith. The specific arrangement: Keith gets the children every other weekend, starting Saturday at 10 a.m. and ending Sunday at 6 p.m. They'll alternate holidays. Nicole gets every Mother's Day and Easter. Keith gets every Father's Day. They'll trade Thanksgivings and Christmases in alternating years. Both cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for divorce. Neither is seeking spousal support or child support from the other. Court documents state that Keith has already prepaid all child support obligations owed to Nicole. But here's what people in Nashville are whispering. Why would Keith accept seeing his daughters only 59 days per year without fighting? Most celebrity divorce lawyers will tell you that custody battles can drag on for months, even years. Keith signed these papers and walked away with less than 20% custody. There's only one reason a father accepts that kind of arrangement without a fight. He doesn't have leverage. And what would take away Keith's leverage? Evidence. If Nicole had proof of the alleged affair, texts, photos, eyewitness accounts, Keith would know that fighting for custody meant all of that coming out in court. Public record. Headlines everywhere. His squeaky clean country star image destroyed. So he took the deal. 59 days. Minimal disruption to his tour schedule. And whatever Nicole has stays private. Some divorce attorneys who've looked at these filings off the record say the speed and efficiency of this divorce screams smoking gun. One lawyer told a Nashville blogger, "When you see a divorce this clean, this fast, with custody this lopsided, and nobody fighting it, somebody has something they don't want the public to see." Sources told People magazine their lives were moving in different directions, and once he quietly set up his own place, it felt like the writing was on the wall. It really hasn't been a secret in their circles that Keith and Nicole have been living separately for a while now. People close to Keith felt like the split was kind of inevitable. The documents were signed by notaries weeks before the public filing. Keith signed on August 29, 2025. Nicole signed on September 6th. By the time news broke on September 29th, the divorce was essentially done. Let's talk about what actually happened in 2025, because when you map it out, the pattern is impossible to ignore. April 2024 rolls around. Keith gives that emotional AFI speech. He's crying. Nicole's crying. Everyone watching is crying. He calls her his savior, says she chose love. The whole world thinks, this is what marriage goals look like. Fast forward to May 2025. Keith and Nicole walk the red carpet at the Academy of Country Music Awards. They're smiling, they're posing together. To cameras, everything looks fine. But if you go back and watch that footage now, there's distance between them. Not physical distance, emotional distance. Nicole keeps touching his arm, like she's trying to connect. Keith keeps looking past her, scanning the crowd. June 20th, 2025. Their last public appearance together at a FIFA Club World Cup game in Nashville. Photographers capture them laughing and smiling. But insiders who were there said something interesting. They arrived separately, left separately, only sat together for the cameras during the game. One person at the event claimed they barely spoke to each other when cameras weren't on them. 6 days later, June 26th, their 19th anniversary. Nicole's posting romantic tributes, Keith's responding with an emoji. And behind the scenes, according to sources, he'd already moved out. Some Nashville locals claim they saw Keith apartment hunting in early June. Others say he'd actually moved into his new place weeks before the anniversary. So when Nicole was writing "Happy Anniversary, Baby," Keith was allegedly already living separately, preparing to end the marriage, and possibly, according to those Nashville whispers, already involved with someone else. Then summer hits, and suddenly Keith's on tour constantly. He's traveling across the United States, Canada, Australia. Meanwhile, Nicole's in London filming. They're on opposite sides of the world. And that's when things allegedly got messy. Keith's High and Alive world tour became his escape. Sources close to Nicole told TMZ she was devastated, trying to save the marriage, while Keith was touring, and according to rumors, the alleged mystery woman was right there with him. Some fans who attended multiple shows started noticing the same woman backstage at different venues. Same VIP access, same proximity to Keith. Speculation went wild online, but nobody could confirm who she was. By late August, the divorce paperwork was being signed. Keith signed on August 29th. Nicole, heartbroken but finally accepting it was over, signed on September 6th. And then they kept it quiet for weeks while finishing final details. September 29th, the news breaks. September 30th, Nicole officially files. What happened in those 17 months from Keith's AFI speech to divorce? Some industry insiders claim the marriage had been in trouble for longer than anyone knew, that Keith's touring schedule had created distance for years, that they'd grown apart slowly, then suddenly all at once. Others say no. Keith met someone else, fell hard, and blew up a 19-year marriage for a new relationship. Either way, the speed of the collapse is stunning. From that emotional AFI speech to filed divorce papers in 17 months. Within 24 hours of the separation, news breaking, the real bomb dropped. TMZ reported that multiple sources connected to Nicole say all the signs point to the fact Keith is with another woman. The source continued. Let's just say Nicole doesn't dispute that, but she's still shocked over it. Another source told TMZ, it's all over Nashville. Now here's where it gets interesting. A Nashville music business PR insider told Daily Mail, the rumor is that he's with a younger woman in the business. It's all everyone is talking about. Everyone wants to know who, but so far, that's a mystery. But Nashville's music community isn't that big, and people talk. According to chatter on country music forums and blind item sites, there are theories. Some fans believe it's someone from Keith's touring band. Others think it's someone from his management team. A few conspiracy theorists on Reddit claim it's someone Nicole knows, which, if true, would explain why she feels so betrayed. One persistent rumor that keeps circulating involves Keith's touring guitarist. Fans noticed he's been more present in Keith's Instagram stories this year, more behind-the-scenes content, more casual interactions. But that could be completely innocent. Keith's always been close with his band members. What we do know, sources say Nicole doesn't dispute the other woman claim. She's still shocked by it. The rumor is all over Nashville. And nobody, not Keith's team, not Nicole's team, has denied it. Page 6 reported that a source said, sometimes relationships just run their course. But that's PR speak. That's what you say when you don't want to say, he left her for someone else. People magazine reported that Nicole is hurt and that Nicole's sister Antonia has been a rock and the entire Kidman family has come together to support one another. The critical question everyone's asking, when did this alleged relationship start? If it started after the June separation, Keith technically didn't cheat. He moved on fast, but he wasn't unfaithful. But if it started before, if Keith was involved with this woman while still married, while Nicole was fighting to save their relationship, while he was letting her post anniversary tributes, that's betrayal. And there's one more clue everyone missed until now. Remember that bizarre interview moment in June? Keith did an interview with Australian radio station Mix 102.3. The host brought up Nicole's movie, A Family Affair, where she filmed steamy scenes with Zac Efron. Pretty standard celebrity interview question, right? Happens all the time. The host asked, what does Keith Urban think when he sees his beautiful wife with beautiful younger men like Zac Efron having these beautiful love scenes? Keith immediately disconnected from the Zoom call. Just gone. The radio staff confirmed he's disconnected. I think his team hung up because they didn't want us to ask that question. At the time, people thought Keith was being protective or uncomfortable. But looking back now, knowing they just separated, knowing he'd allegedly already moved on with someone else, that reaction reads differently. Was it guilt? Was it projection because he was the one actually with someone younger? Some body language experts analyzing the footage claim Keith looked panicked, not protective. Nicole hasn't given interviews. She hasn't posted on social media about the divorce beyond what was necessary, but through court documents and sources speaking on her behalf, she's confirmed everything. Through her legal filing, Nicole made clear she cited irreconcilable differences. She wanted to be named primary residential parent. She gets 306 days per year. Keith gets 59. The separation date is September 30th, 2025. Both waived spousal support. Keith already prepaid all child support obligations. Their properties are in separate trusts and LLCs, no shared assets. But the real confirmation came from what sources close to Nicole told various outlets. People magazine said she's devastated and feels betrayed. She wanted to save the marriage. Keith wanted out. She's still shocked about the other woman, reports, but doesn't dispute them. And here's the part that breaks your heart. Nicole's sister, Antonia, and the entire Kidman family have rallied around her, which suggests Nicole's really hurting. This isn't an amicable split. where they're still friends. This is a woman who stood by her husband through addiction and rehab, who fought to save their marriage, who loved him for 19 years, only to allegedly lose him to someone else. Nicole's first public appearance after filing was October 4th at Amfar's Dallas auction. She wore a black off-the-shoulder gown and presented Taylor Sheridan with an award. She spoke about supporting each other, about looking out for each other. Her exact words, "I think what Taylor recognizes, as we all do, is that we are all more alike than we are different, and that we're better when we look out for each other. We're better when we look out for each other." That hits different when your husband of 19 years allegedly stopped looking out for your marriage. Some Hollywood insiders who were at that event said Nicole looked composed but fragile, that her smile was practiced, that you could see the pain in her eyes if you looked close enough. One photographer said she left immediately after presenting the award. No mingling, no staying for cocktails. Just in, present, out. There are also whispers that Nicole knew something was wrong for months before the separation, that she had suspicions about the alleged other woman, that she tried to address it with Keith, but he denied everything until he couldn't anymore. Some sources claim that's why she ultimately agreed to the divorce. She was tired of fighting for someone who'd already left emotionally. After 19 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman has confirmed through court documents and sources close to her exactly why the marriage ended. The legal reason, irreconcilable differences. The human reason, Keith wanted out. Nicole wanted to stay. He allegedly moved on with someone else. She's devastated and feels betrayed. Keith initiated the separation in June 2025 after moving into his own Nashville residence. Nicole wanted to save the marriage. She fought for it. According to TMZ sources, they lived separately throughout the summer. Keith on tour, Nicole filming in London. Multiple sources told various outlets that all the signs point to the fact Keith is with another woman, that Nicole doesn't dispute that but is still shocked, that the rumor is all over Nashville, and that it's allegedly a younger woman in the business. Nicole filed for divorce September 30th. She gets primary custody with 306 days per year. Keith gets 59 days, 17% custody without fighting for more time, which suggests he either didn't want more time or he couldn't fight, because Nicole had evidence he didn't want made public. The timeline tells the story. 17 months from Keith's emotional AFI speech to divorce filing, 3 months from their anniversary to official separation, weeks from separation to fully negotiated divorce terms, signed by both parties. And somewhere in that timeline, according to Nashville whispers, Keith met someone else, or maybe he'd known her for a while. Maybe she'd been right there in plain sight on tour, in his professional circle, someone Nicole might have even met. And when Keith decided he wanted out, Nicole couldn't save the marriage, no matter how hard she tried. After 19 years, Nicole Kidman has confirmed the reason for her divorce from Keith Urban, and it's heartbreaking. They met in January 2005. Keith was so nervous, he carried her phone number for a week before calling. They married in June 2006 in Sydney. 4 months later, Keith entered rehab. Nicole stood by him. She chose love. They had 2 daughters. They presented themselves as Hollywood's strongest couple. Nicole saved Keith from addiction. Keith called her his princess, his savior. In April 2024, Keith gave that emotional speech at Nicole's AFI ceremony. He praised her for pushing through negative voices to save their marriage. 17 months later, they separated. Keith initiated it. Nicole wanted to save it. Sources say Keith has moved on with another woman, allegedly a younger woman in the business. The rumor is all over Nashville. Nicole doesn't dispute that, but is still shocked. She filed for divorce in September, getting primary custody, 306 days per year versus Keith's 59 days. He didn't fight for more time. Either he didn't want it, or Nicole had evidence that made fighting impossible. Was Keith's AFI speech genuine, or was the marriage already crumbling? Did he mean those words about Nicole saving him, or was he performing for Hollywood? And if the rumors are true about another woman, when did that relationship really start? After the June separation, or months before while Nicole was still fighting to save their marriage? After 19 years of standing by a man through his darkest moments, Nicole Kidman is starting over at 58. Keith Urban gets to rebuild at 57, with allegedly someone new already in his life. Do you believe Keith's AFI speech was real? Or do you think he was already planning his exit? And if there really is another woman, do you think Nicole deserves to know who she is? Should Keith face more consequences for allegedly blowing up a 19-year marriage? Drop your thoughts below.